For such a crazy car market where no one has vehicles, Tim Daly Infiniti is your home for an incredible selection of great quality used vehicles for any budget. And the best part? Most are backed by the Tim Daly Forever Warranty. Tim Daly Infiniti still wants your trade-in or to simply buy your car outright with a quick payoff. Don't wait. Come see us today. Think Tim Daly Infiniti and think
it's forever yours. Warranty.
If you have hearing loss and need captions to understand phone calls, Caption Call is your answer. Caption Call works just like a regular phone, but with easy-to-read captions of what the other person is saying. To learn more, visit captioncall.com/sound advice. Understanding phone calls has never been easier with Caption Call.
KSL's Unrivaled. The Unrivaled NFL Roundup. Premium Grade A Pro Football stories from your two hosts, a former NFL quarterback and the other guy. It's the Unrivaled NFL Roundup.
All right, welcome back. It's KSL's Unrivaled. Welcome back. It's KSL's Unrivaled. Scott Mitchell over here, Alex Curie right here. Scott Mitchell over there. I'm here. Okay. So.
Wait, I'm confused. Which way are you?
You're there. I'm here.
Okay, got it.
But I mean, look, we're only, 4.5 feet from each other.
Yeah.
So
we're socially distancing.
Yeah, it's good. Well, we face different directions. I don't want to look at you.
Although I'm socially awkward.
So that helps.
So
that helps. It's like, hey, don't worry about the social distancing thing. You know why? Because Scott can't make eye contact anyway. It's great. Oh, no. He'll stay away from you. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
We just talked about the Raiders for a minute, and I told you during the break, I got a little heavy. I mean, I don't want to go I want to have fun on the show, Come on. We have some fun, Scott? I mean, darn it.
Yeah, let's talk about Urban Meyer.
Boy, talk about a different version of depressing.
Yeah.
Well, and you always say this. You're like, I would give guys a couple of, you give guys 2 or 3 years, 3 or 4 years as coaches. And even at the beginning of all this, has that changed at all for you? Like that he's the Jags head coach for the next 2 or 3 years until they say, no, we can't do it anymore? Or is he getting to the point where people are like, we're over the distraction, we can't do it anymore with Urban Meyer?
Look, Urban Meyer, like him or not, okay, is a great football coach. He's been a great football coach, been a winner, been successful. This is a new animal, a new beast. It's different than college football. You don't play with the same set of rules. You don't build a program the same way you build a college one. You just don't.
But why? They always talk about how the locker rooms are very different and how he's never had this article that we're talking about. It kind of makes the reference to that he has never had this locker room. So what's the difference really between the NFL locker room and a college locker room?
Here's the thing. The difference is guys are paid. A lot of guys may have more pull and influence with the organization, a lot of the players, than the coach does.
You have some wily veteran in there. And
everyone knows the game. The game in the NFL is played on the field. The game in college is recruiting and really getting talent and getting the most out of that talent and really kind of that rah-rah, we'll run through a brick wall kind of thing. And it's important for that coach to understand that and to have that. When I watched this documentary on Vince Lombardi, when Vince Lombardi started out, he was with the Giants and the players laughed at him. They said, "This guy's a clown. He doesn't know what he's doing." And it took some time where he kind of listened to his players a little bit. Shoot, I can't remember his name now. And he was the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach, and he actually went and coached the Giants. And Michael Strahan just said, look,
Tom Coughlin?
Tom Coughlin.
Yeah.
And Tom Coughlin was a lot like Urban Meyer. And they kind of had a sit-down meeting where they
Him and Strahan, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he said, you got to chill out a little bit. And Tom Coughlin probably says, well, you need to kind of heat up a little bit. You're maybe a little bit too so there was kind of a meeting of the minds. But this isn't the first time. A lot of I think of Coach Shula. I mean, Coach Shula was a tyrant. He was a tyrant, and a lot of guys didn't like him. But they learned. He kind of learned to soften, and he learned. But he understood players, and he understood putting players in the right position. And Urban Meyer's a tyrant. You may not know this, but like playing for Urban Meyer is not a picnic. Players that have played for it, like he is tough, and the tough thing. All these guys in the NFL, they've been through the tough vetting process. You're tough if you're in the NFL. You don't need to be toughened up to be in the NFL. In a lot of ways, you need to be respected. You need to be listened to.
Well,
and it's not babied, but it's more of a situation where you're like, it's collaborative. Let's work together on this more than I'm your coach and you're going to do what I say.
I mean, in the end, Urban Meyer's situation isn't that far off of what John Gruden's situation is in the sense that, like, at some point you go, you can't be in front of these players. Like, no one's going to respect you. This locker room, you're going to lose a lot of these guys. And Urban Meyer, I mean, after this all came out, we have now a report from the NFL Network, Michael Silver, saying that one player was like, yeah, Urban's too scared to actually face the entire team. He'll show up into some of these meetings with position groups and kind of float by and apologize. But he says he has zero credibility in this stadium, that anonymous Jags player told Silver. He had very little to begin with. And I thought, this is when you start to lose guys, right? Like, I mean, in the end, if you have a bunch of dudes who start to feel that way, then Shad Khan, the team owner, goes, we can't do this anymore. Like, you're not doing, and we're not winning. So it's the worst of both worlds.
I mean, he's in a precarious position. There's no question. And these owners, they have an image, and they want to be liked. I mean, you're the owner of an NFL franchise. You want the public to like you. I know this was a big issue for the Fords, and they were like, how do we get the masses on our side, kind of thing. Well, we'll fire our coach again, or we'll go in a different direction, or we'll do. And I think the being liked was a lot of the decisions that are made with a lot of these, and not necessarily what's the best decision to make, but what's the thing that's going to keep us in the good graces of people who are coming and buying our product. I mean, that's what you have to realize. And sometimes it's not necessarily putting the best product on the field, but putting a product or having a perception that people want to come and show up to your game. But going back, because that statement was really interesting. The statement by Urban was really interesting when he said, I don't really get in front of the whole team. And I think I've never heard of this, okay? And I can understand going to
that's like the time when head coaches dip in is to talk with the whole team.
Yeah, every coach I've ever been around has gotten in front of the
even if they're kind of that quote unquote hands off guy who's got his field generals.
Wayne Fonts was a hands off guy. Always had team meetings.
Yeah, I mean.
He always had team meetings during the week or when something was important.
But that's when you dip in and go, well, I'm a head coach. This is what's kind of required of me. This is the time where I have to address the whole team here.
I would imagine you would absolutely want to address the whole team. But, if it was like, okay, let me meet with you individually or in position groups where you can feel maybe it's safer to say something. But most NFL players, they're not sitting there in the team meeting and being like, conciliatory. They'll speak up. Guys are not afraid to speak their mind and say what they have to say.
And that might be part of the difference too of what you normally face in college as well. Maybe some guys who just sort of go, well, this guy recruited me. I have a lot of respect for him. That always takes the first kind of thing where you're like, yeah, but I love Coach. That's kind of a Tim Tebow approach. It's like, anyway. You have to put players on the field, right? And so in college, like they can kind of bury you. You can get coach has a lot of control over you. In the NFL, it's like, man, if you're not putting the best players on the field, everyone is going to crucify you. Interesting little story here. When I was growing up, when I was in high school and college, Sean Taylor was one of those guys that you just knew when he played at Miami, and then when he ended up at the Redskins. Like, this was a guy who was, a tremendous talent. I'll always remember when he blew up a punter during the Pro Bowl, right? This was a guy who just never turned it off. And the Washington football team this week is going to retire the jersey of you remember Sean Taylor was killed at his home during a botched invasion, I guess, and just absolute tragedy. And he was at the top of his game, and so it was even worse because everybody knew how good he was, and then it was just all cut short. But I thought this was interesting. That this will be only the third jersey retirement in the history of the Washington football team. You got Sammy Baugh, number 33, and Bobby Mitchell, number 49, and then Sean Taylor. They don't do this very often. Well, NFL teams really don't do it that often. They might have rings of honor. They might put your name in there. But they're retiring his jersey on Sunday when they play the Chiefs. I thought it was a cool gesture. I think it's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
You don't like it?
Well, no, it's not that I don't like it. It's really nice. I question the motive.
Oh, you're saying because of the circumstances this week?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've had this in the works, though.
Okay. Well, I know, and there's been a lot of questions about their program has been in the works. I look. Yeah, you
and your conspiracy theories. I mean, I'm listening.
No,
I like this stuff.
Sean Taylor was an amazing player, but still, he didn't have enough of a body of work. Maybe. I mean, he was still relatively young.
Yeah, not a long career.
And typically you kind of reserve those things for people with a longer type of career. To retire a jersey is a very, very big deal, I think. And believe me, it's
some political grandstanding. Using this as some political grandstanding.
I wouldn't put it past him.
You're a pessimist, Scott Mitchell. Usually you're the silver lining guy. But hey.
I try to see things how they really are, not how they're spun.
All right. We'll take the break here. We'll come back. When we return, guess what? Got our 2-minute drill to wrap things up. Stay with us. More to go on KSL's Unrivaled.